Hello guys, welcome to Commerce Adda online classes, and this is the lecture number 5 of the business statistics 0 to hero free course. In this main part we are going to start from this lecture onwards, that is central tendency, which is a part of our UGC NET paper 2 commerce and management syllabus. I think all are waiting for this type of videos only which are relevant for our examination, but till now in the 4 videos I created a base. Till now in the 4 videos I created a base. Intentionally I took that much depth in the basics, because if you can understand that basics clearly, then only you can able to move forward to the complex. If you are failing in the basics now, then there is no sense in learning the advanced things. So that is why I created a base to some extent. I think it was helpful for you. Now let us go into the actual part of the discussion, which is starting from the measures of central tendency. This is the part 1, and measures of central tendency lectures will be having, I think, 2 or 3 parts will be there. In this lecture specifically I will be discussing what do you mean by central tendency. Second thing is arithmetic mean and their properties, and remaining geometric mean, harmonic mean, mean, median, mode will be discussed in next lecture. As early as possible I am trying to post my videos, but try to understand my difficulty also. I have to manage so many things in the Unacademy, as you know. Now let us start with the today's discussion. If you didn't subscribe to my channel, kindly subscribe and share it to your friends, and hit a like button if you like the session. Measures of central tendency. What do you mean by central tendency? Tell me, what do you mean by central tendency? Central tendency, the name itself is saying. First, before going through with the meaning of the central tendency, let me put a two situation before you. So that you are able to understand whether I am speaking in the context or not, whether it is a conceptual thing or not. See, there are two things that you need to understand. Situation number 1. Statements like which we talk about the growth rates of a nations and growth rates of a states, industries, areas, and etc. etc. In a TV channels and a various magazines we will see. What does it, each growth rate given by the each magazines or journals or a newspaper, how does came into picture? How does that came into picture? Suppose a national growth of 5.6% is growing India, like that. They given a growth rate. 5.6% is a growth rate. In some magazine it was mentioned. So what do you understand by that? Exact 5.6% India growth is there. Exact 5.6%. No, right? It is on an average after taking so many statistical into consideration. Then they made that growth rate. Correct or not? They calculated that growth rate on an average basis. It may be exact or accurate. It may not be. So we are trying to identify here in this situation. We are trying to identify the average. Now let us look into the second situation, where in our daily life we often make the statements like this, like my average income is 15,000 or 10,000, 30,000 per month, and a commerce student study on an average basis 4 hours daily or else 10 hours daily. That means every commerce student is going to study 4 hours. Every commerce student is going to study 10 hours. No, right? We can't say. But we are saying about the total population on an average, not an exact number. And average workers of a factory X are 10,000 per month. Average wages of a workers. Whether all workers are having 10,000 per month may not be, because some higher level worker will be getting higher wages, lower level low wages. Like this it will be differing. But if you take the average of it, it may be 10,000 or 20,000 will be there. So here in these two situations, if we can understand, here we are not making an exact number. We are trying to take some average number which is which is there in the central or else middle in the total of all observation, which is somehow near to all observation, right? So that is what we call it as a central tendency. Now a careful analysis of the above statement reveals that they are talking about some value or a figure. Yes, not an extreme, not an exact one or accurate one, but have some central value which is called as an average, which is speaking about most of the observation in the total cluster. I said 10,000 per month. Average payment or average wages of a worker is 10,000 per month. That means after considering all employees there in the factory, I am indicating 10,000 per month. That means I am speaking about whole population by taking this average. It is in some central value, not an exact value. This central value around which most of the data points are in a cluster. Cluster is nothing but group. It is used as a representative of the value for the data. That means this average is indicating total all workers wages. This average is indicating total all commerce students daily spending hours on their studies. So hence the central values which represent the data is known as measures of central tendency. Ab aa gaya hero. So what is that? Measures of central tendency. Measuring the central point which is speaking about a total observation there in that particular group is called as a cluster, is called as a central tendency. Measures of central tendency. Got it? Now when people talk about an average value or else middle value or else a most frequent value, they are similarly or else informally, indirectly they are speaking about measure of central tendency. Measure of central tendency. Now generally it is very much difficult, rather impossible for human mind to remember huge and unwidely set of numerical values which it comes across in the life on a daily basis. Correct or not? We are not not in a position to calculate exact number on a daily basis because our mind is very much limited scope. Our mind will not calculate each and every number accurately. We can calculate only up to maximum average numerical number. So we can't able to calculate exact number. So to simplify our life decisions, we will go for the average. We will go for the average, which is speaking about a whole data. Now, even if it remembers them as a, then also it is not possible to draw a conclusion, valid conclusion from the tens or thousands or lakhs of figures of data will be there. It is huge difficulty will be involved to take exact figure about the total hundreds or thousands or crores of data figures. So that is why measures of central tendency will help us to find out this one. This measures of central tendency is a statistical tool which helps in condensing, simplifying and making the data more understandable. Some measures of central tendency occupy the place of preeminence in all statistical analysis. That means it is the first priority in any case because average will be the main backbone of the entire statistics. Average is main backbone. Now there are various definitions given by the various authors for the measures of central tendency. Like average is an attempt to find out one single figure to describe the whole of figure. Correct or not? We are trying to, by indicating 10,000 per month wages average, we are saying all person average wages will be this much only. Whole figure is all employees and single figure which we identified is 10,000 per month. And Croxton said that an average value is a single value within the range of data. That is also represent the all values in the series that I told you. Total describing the whole figures. And since the average is somewhere within the range of data, it is something called as a measure of central value called as an average. Average. I think it is very much clear that you understood a measures of central tendency definition. Till now we understood only definition or a sentence meaning. Now let us look into other one. So if you look into the aspects of some more, there are three orders of measurement of average. First order, second order, third order. The first order is called as a measures of central tendency. Just now we discussed. Second order is called as our second topic, that is measures of dispersion. Third order is called as measures of skewness and kurtosis. If we can complete these three topics, then our task is done with respect to topic number 1 of the business statistics in our syllabus. Now let us start with the first. So central tendency divided again into, which is the first order of the measurement is central tendency. Central tendency is divided into two, that is mathematical averages and positional averages. Mathematical averages are again divided into three: AM, GM and HM, that is arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean. Positional averages are three: median, partition values, mode. Let us discuss each one by one in detail because this is the area where questions will come. Mathematical positional. I am starting with the mathematical averages. That first one, arithmetic mean, I am going to start. Let us speak about the arithmetic mean only and their properties, how it looks like and what are the methods for calculation. And properties are most important, most repeated assertion based question. So if we can complete this arithmetic mean in this session, then I can complete remaining portion in the next video. Let us try to start with the arithmetic mean. Arithmetic meaning. What is the meaning of arithmetic mean? See, the word average we use frequently in a day-to-day life, right? Average is a daily usable term, such as average price and average income, average weight, etc., etc. In this all expressions, the word average is nothing but arithmetic mean. Whatever the general average that we are speaking about, that is same as called as an arithmetic mean. Generally, a layman can call average, but a statistician call as an arithmetic mean. As we know the statistics, we call that average an arithmetic mean. If they don't know about the statistics, then that person will be called that as an average. So the arithmetic mean is also known as a mean. Just normal mean is also called as an arithmetic mean, also called as an average in the layman version. So it is obtained by all the observation and dividing them sum of the numbers of observation. Like sum of observation divided by all number of observation is the formula. That is the general formula of average, right? So in this arithmetic mean also, as average is also called as an arithmetic mean, the same formula will be called as an arithmetic mean and average. Next, but it will be differing based on the data type. There are two types of data. One is ungrouped data. Second one is grouped data. Ungrouped is nothing but not yet classified. Just the observations are given. They were not categorized into any groups. Those are called as an ungrouped. And observations are given. Those were categorized according to some basis groups. Categories were there like 30 to 50 these are, and 0 children in these 30 families, 1 children in these 40 families. Like I will give you an example. I will be giving and solving the questions also based on this. Don't worry about that. Those are called as a group. Classification will be there. Classification of the data, grouping. Not classification of the data is called as an ungrouping. So different methods for calculating the arithmetic mean are used. The different methods can be classified into arithmetic mean of an ungrouped data. AM of an ungrouped data. There are two methods again in the ungrouped AM also. Direct method, indirect method. And in the grouped method also two. That is direct method, indirect method. It is also called as a step deviation method. Let us start with the arithmetic mean of a ungrouped data. Ungrouped data. The first one is that direct method. As we are starting with the direct method, you can see over here, direct method under the ungrouped data. Let us start with that. Direct method is nothing but normal average. Normal average that we calculated, na, that will be called as an arithmetic mean. The formula under the direct method for the arithmetic mean calculation is sum of observation divided by the number of observation. Divided by the number of observation. Sum divided by the number. So if you take x1, x2, x3, x4, x4, x5 like that, xn observations on one side, then how many numbers are there? N numbers are there. So formula will be x1 plus x2 plus x3 and so on xn divided by number of observations n, and summation x divided by, all together it is called as a summation, right? Summation, because sum of all observation is called as a summation of x, and n is nothing but number of observation there in that particular problem. So summation x by x divided by n is the formula for direct method of the arithmetic mean. Let us solve one question, easy question. See 61, here they are asking arithmetic mean of a mark obtained by a 10 student. That means whenever they said 10 students is nothing but n is equal, number of observations are 10. Now let us calculate 61, 81, 87, 78, 54, 56, 6. These were the given data. These were the given observations. 10 observations are given. There is no classification is given in the question. That means it is an ungrouped data. Which method will be applicable? Direct method will be applicable. So here formula will be 61 plus 81 plus 87 and plus 78 plus 54 plus 54 and 56 and 67 plus 65 plus 68 plus 69 divided by how many number of observations? 10 observations. then you will get an exact number. The sum of all observation is how much? I think it is, you can see the solution over here. 690 is the sum of all 10 observation. 10 divided by number 10, which is equal to 69. So average marks in that classroom is 69 marks. 69 marks are there in that particular classroom. I think direct method is very easy and very understandable also. Now indirect method. In the indirect or shortcut method, out of all given observation, one number, or else we will be assuming one mean. We will be assuming one mean called as an assumed mean, which are near to the given set of observation. So deviation from the individual observation from this assumed mean are taken for the calculation of the arithmetic mean. First we will take the arithmetic mean, which is an assumed thing, which is an assumed for the purpose of the calculation. Then this assumed mean differentiation or deviation will be calculated. Then only we can go for the actual arithmetic mean calculation. So formula for this deviation, that means the differences between observations and assumed mean. This is nothing but the formula meaning is difference between assumed mean and set of observations which are given in the question. The difference is called as an deviation. Difference is called as a deviation, which is indicated by the di. Di is nothing but difference or deviation. So formula in this indirect method is 2. In the indirect method, formula for aim, that is x bar. Aim is nothing but x bar, indication. X bar is equal to assumed mean plus summation n, which is number of observation. That summation n di. Di is nothing but summation of di is nothing but summation of deviations and divided by the n. Let us try to take one example to simplify everything over here. So not to complicate much. Whenever we'll put it in the number, easily relatable and understandable, right? So let us take the numbers into consideration. Find the arithmetic mean of the marks obtained by the 10 students. Same, n is equal to 10. Then 63, 62, 67 again observations are given. Here we are trying to indicate this x, 63, 62, 67, 68 and 64. Then 66, 67, 65 and 68, 70. Am I correct? Total data is correct, right? This is x. Now we should assume, wait, it is going on other side. Okay. Let us assume, which is the assumed mean you should assume in the point of view of, or else in the very near to the given numbers. All are in the scope of 60 number only, right? In the 60 number only, all are very near, because all the series is given in the 60 series only. So I am assuming the number as in 60, assumed mean as in 60. That is, assumed mean is equal to a is equal to 60, which I assume. Now what you need to do? This a you need to deduct. This a you need to deduct from the x. X is an observation, and you need to deduct a, which is x minus a over here. X minus a over here. So x minus a, how to identify? 63 minus 60, which is equal to 3. 62 minus 60, which is equal to 2. 67 minus 60, which is equal to 7. And 64 minus 60, which is equal to 4. 66 minus 60 is equal to 6. 7 minus 60, which is equal to 7. Next, 5 minus 60, which is equal to 5. 68 minus 60, which is equal to 8. 70 minus 60, which is equal to minus 2. After identifying, this is an deviation, right? This is what we calculated, deviation. Now whether they are asking a summation of deviation or else normal deviation. Summation, that means common, total or sum of all. This is 3 plus 2 plus 7 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 5 plus 8 minus 2. All together you will be getting an amount as, you will be getting the figure. The total observations are 60. Total observation, summation D. Summation D, 60. Last one, how much we took it? Okay, this is number 10, right? Right. Number 10 it is. Okay, number 10. 70 minus 60, which is a number 10, which is plus 10 only, not minus 10, it is plus 10 only. Okay, right? Very sorry for the mistake. It is plus 10 only. 10. Now, after adding all these observation put together, it is summed as 60. If you apply the formula, what is assumed mean? 60. What is the summation of di that you got? 60 divided by the number of observations, 10 are given. So final outcome will be 66 is an arithmetic mean. 66 as an arithmetic mean. I hope you got the number clearly. I hope you understood the indirect method of the arithmetic mean also. Right? Indirect method. So here assumed mean will be there. Assumed mean is nothing but which is to identify the deviation from the observation. DI is nothing but deviation. So X observations minus assumed mean will be giving a deviation from that observation, individual observation. Then sum of all deviations are called as an summation DI, which is divided by number of observation, and plus assumed mean will be getting an arithmetic mean exactly. Done. Now let us go into the second type, which is an arithmetic mean in case of a grouped data. Till now we discussed only ungrouped data. Now let us discuss grouped data. Grouped data is nothing but some categorization of that observation has to be done. Correct? So the categorization is nothing but making a groups. Total data converting into a groups. There are two methods again. One is direct method. Second is indirect method. Suppose we have a data from x1, x2, xn observations, and frequencies are f1, f2, fn. Then in such a case, direct method of the grouped data arithmetic mean is arithmetic mean x bar in this direct method of the grouped data is equal frequencies into observation. F1 is a frequency, x1 is an observation. So observation into frequency plus observation into frequency, so on, and fn and xn divided by the sum of frequencies. So final formula will be summation of fi xi divided by the n. Let us try to discuss with numbers. Then you will easily understand what the direct method is wanted to say. See here, calculate the average number of a children per family. Average number of a children per family they are asking. Here number of children are given. And number of families is given. Number of families is nothing but frequency. Number of children is nothing but observation. This is an X and this is an frequency. So 30 families are having 0 children. 52 families are having 1 children. 60 families are having 2 children. Like that, different category of families given who are having a children from a 0 to 6. So these were categorized into groups. 30 family group, 52 family groups. So that is why it is called as a grouped data. Let us calculate how we'll calculate here. We need to, this is X and this is F, right? So what we need to do as per the formula, F into X we need to do. F into X. Let us do the multiplication simply. This into this. 0 into 30, 0. 1 into 52, 52. 2 into 60, 120. And 65 into 3, how much it is? 15. 3 5s are and 3 6s are 7. 3 5s are 15. And 8. I think 195. Okay. Next, 4 into 18. 4 into 18, 5 into 10 and 6 into 5. You need to calculate the multiplication. Then you will be getting the total number of total summation of the f into x, which is a multiplication of the children's as well as the number of family members. So after doing that, we will get a summation of this f into x, frequencies into observation. Summation f into x, which is 519, and number of frequencies given 240. So ultimate formula is saying summation of this multiplication of the frequencies into observation divided by number of observations or else number of frequencies are summation of frequency. So summation of frequency is 240. So in this formula, the final answer will be 519 divided by 240, which will be giving 2.1625 is an average. Is an average. So this is how we need to calculate. This is how we need to calculate the direct method of a group data. Fi xi summation of Fi xi divided by number of observation, or else summation of frequency. Summation of frequency is the better appropriate measure rather than the number of observation. Now second method under the group data will be group data. Indirect method, this is also called as a step deviation method. Here steps to be followed. First here in this indirect method or step deviation method, we need to calculate a midpoint. We need to calculate a midpoint of different classes of given in the question. Different classes of observation will be given in the question, class intervals. From that we need to identify the midpoint of each class interval. Thereafter we need to decide the assumed mean also. Assumed means will be appearing in the indirect group data, indirect ungrouped data also. Assumed mean role will be there. So the assumed mean will be also indicated as and denoted as an A. Calculate the value of dx. That is, what is dx? If the class interval that is length of the each interval is denoted by h and A is the assumed mean, then dx is equal. Dx is nothing but deviation or difference between the class interval and assumed mean divided by the difference between the assumed mean and number of the observation given in the question divided by the class interval will be called as an deviation. So the deviation we need to calculate. Sir, you are telling all the formulas. No, let me give an example with the numbers, then you will understand easily. Multiply the deviation which is calculated in the step number 3 with a corresponding frequency and calculate the value of summation f dx. It is a frequency into deviation that you calculated, then you will be getting summation of f dx. So final formula after doing these many steps will be AM, that is arithmetic mean, is equal assumed mean plus summation of Fi di divided by number of observation into class interval length. What is this? Let me tell you about the whole thing so that you can understand easily. The following table shows daily income of a distributions of 500 workers. Total 500 workers are there in the company. Their income, daily income is given like this. The average income, find the average income they are asking. That means arithmetic mean we need to identify. Now here 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, 150 to 200, 200 to 250, 250 to 300. Here what is the class interval? What is the class interval? The gap between each and every interval, each and every series or observation, gap is how much? 50. 50 is the gap, or 50 is the class interval. Class interval is the 50. Now how the problem answer will look like? The answer will be the workers that are given, and these both are given in the question itself. Now the mid value we need to identify. Step number 1. Mid value is how much? 0 to 50 divided by 2. Mid value is 25. 50 to 100 mid value 75. 100 to 150 middle value 125. 150 to 200 middle value 175. Like that we identify the mid values. From that middle value, or else the x which is an income, which is an x which is an middle value. From that middle value we need to deduct assumed mean, that is x minus a. Then we need to divide it by the class interval which we calculated. The difference between each class is 50. 50 is the interval. So x minus assumed mean divided by the class interval, then you will get an deviation. You will get a deviation. That is x minus 125. 125 is an assumed mean, because we should assume somehow near number from the out of the given mid values. We assumed it. I assumed 120. You can assume any other number also. It is up to you. You can assume any other number which are very near in the middle values. So if you look at, or else you can take those 125 assumed mean from here also, which is based on the frequency. The near number or else an average number 125 is the best one, because they are indicating from a 10 to 150, which is 125. We assume from that x minus That is 25 minus 125. 25 minus 125 divided by 50. 25 minus 125 means 100 minus 100 by 50 means, which is an 2. 52 minus 2 will be coming. If you perform same equation for all the observation, then final answer will be this much, the deviation. Then what you need to do, the f should be, wait, let me rub this. Final answer will be this and this should be multiplied. That is, frequency and deviation should be multiplied. F dx. 90 into 2, 180. 150 into 1, 150. 100 into 0, 0. 80 into 1, 80. 70 into 2, 140. 10 into 3, 30. Like this we identify. We identify total frequency deviation summation we got. Summation of f dx minus 80. Minus 80. Now go and apply in the formula. What is assumed mean? We assume 125. 125. Summation of f dx is 80. And number of observations are 500 into 50. Into 50 is what? Class intervals. Class intervals. So here number of observations are n is equal, which is a summation of frequency is 500 given. So 125 plus minus 80 that we got summation divided by 500 into 50, final figure that you will be getting, average income is 117. I am not taking a calculation over here in this video because as it is a recorded lecture, I don't want to perform the mathematical operation. It will be a time consuming process. That is why I am not doing it. So I think you are able to understand everything whatever I am taking in the numerical numbers, because easily I gave total entire each and everything meaning and indication also given. There is no difficulty in understanding. Now the answer for this question is average income is 117 per worker. Now properties of the arithmetic mean. Properties of the arithmetic mean. So it is a most repeated assertion reason based question. One question that you can expect from this arithmetic mean properties only. For sure, it will be for sure. Let us look at, there are 7 properties. Within no time I will make you understand. Within no time I will make you understand properties. No need to mug up anything. Just a logic, with a logic you need to understand. Let us put a logic in the properties. The first property they are saying, sum of the deviation, that is sum of the deviations of observation from their arithmetic mean is 0. From their arithmetic mean is 0. That means sum of the deviations of the observation from their arithmetic mean is always 0. First we need to identify the arithmetic mean for the given observation. These are the given observation. How to calculate the arithmetic mean? Like 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 9 plus 3, that is equal to 30. 30 divided by 5 number of observation. So 30 divided by 5 is equal to 6 is the arithmetic mean that we got. Now what we need to understand from this? The property is saying this is the arithmetic mean that we calculated. But the property is saying sum of the deviations of the observation. Like these are the observation from the arithmetic mean, the deviation that you need to identify. Arithmetic, that is observation 5 minus deviation, observation is 5 minus mean that we calculated is 6, and observation mean we calculated 6. Observation minus mean, observation minus mean, observation minus mean. So if you calculate 5 minus 6 minus 1, 6 minus 6 0, 7 minus 6 1, 9 minus 6 3, 3 minus 6 minus 3. So this is what we call it as an x minus x bar, the meaning of the deviations of the observation from their arithmetic mean, So we need to deduct arithmetic mean from the observation given in the question. So if you consider total all of the deviation that we calculated, then it will become 0. Plus 3 minus 3 cancel, plus 1 minus 1 and 0. Got it? The meaning and logic behind the sum of deviations of observations from the arithmetic mean always 0. Whether it is holding true for all kind of situation, whether data with a class interval or without class interval, anything, whatever you put, it will always sum of deviation from the observation from their arithmetic mean is always 0. First property. Second property is the sum of the scales of sum of the squares of a deviation from the arithmetic mean is minimum. Is minimum. That means same deviation that we need to identify. Like mean we calculated is 6. The deviation is minus 1, 0, 1, minus 3. 1, 3, minus 3. That we calculated. Deviation we identified. Now squares of a deviation they are saying. We need to square the deviation which we identify. 1 square, 0 square, 1 square, 3 square, 3 square. Then you will get summation of the squares of the deviation. Summation of the squares of a deviation of which is from the arithmetic mean is minimum. So if at all we want to identify, like squares of a deviation taken from the mean is this situation. The summation of a deviation of the summation of a squares of deviation from the arithmetic mean is always minimum, they are saying. So this is one situation where we have taken a where we have taken arithmetic mean into consideration and we calculated deviation and their squares we identified. Now let us take other than the arithmetic mean, let us put another number which is 5 below the arithmetic mean. X minus 5, 0, 6 minus 1, sorry 6 minus 5, 1, 7 minus 5, 2, 9 minus 5, 4, 3 minus 5 minus 2. This is an other number other than the arithmetic mean. Kindly understand. Now square it. 0 square, 1 square, 2 square, 4 square, 2 square. Then you will be getting sum of number 25. Whether other than the arithmetic mean, if you take any value in considering the squares of deviation, for calculating the squares of deviation, is it above the arithmetic mean sum or not? This is 20 only, but this is 25. That means can we conclude that sum of the squares of deviation from the arithmetic mean is minimum as compared to the other numbers? You may ask me doubt, sir, if what is the case if we take 7? What is the case if we take 7? Calculate. X minus 7 we need to take. X minus 7. 5 minus 7 minus 2. 6 minus 7. 6 minus 7 minus 1. 7 minus 7 0. 9 minus 7 plus 2. 3 minus 7 plus 4. 9 minus 7 2 and this is minus 4, right? Now square it. 3 minus 7 minus 4, correct. Square it. 4, 1, 0, 4 and 16. 16 plus 4, 20, 25, 21, 25. You got 25, which is over and above the arithmetic mean square only. Over and above the arithmetic mean square only. That means if you take any number other than arithmetic mean, if you are doing a squares of deviation from that number, then it is always greater than the sum of squares of a deviation from the arithmetic mean, because that is why we can conclude sum of the squares of a deviation from the arithmetic mean is minimum. Always it is minimum. That you can verify easily. So it is clear that sum of the summation of x bar minus x whole square less than the sum of x bar minus 5 whole square. This is x bar is nothing but a mean, arithmetic mean that we calculated. Now let us go into the third property. Third property is nothing but if the number of items and means are known, then the total number of items can be obtained by multiplying the mean by the number of items. Like we have got 400 average monthly wages and number of persons in the factory is 100. Then we will be getting 2 zeros cancel, 4 is the arithmetic mean. Here in the third property they are simply saying if we can multiply the number of observation with arithmetic mean, you will be getting an total number of items, or else the total figure that you already there, that summation of all observation, we can say summation of all observation it is. So this is number of observation into arithmetic mean, which will give you 400 only. 4 into 100, 400. That is what they are saying in the third property. Simple. Now if we add or delete an observation which is equal to the mean and the arithmetic means remains unaffected, that means what is the meaning behind this? Add or delete an observation which is equal to the mean, then arithmetic mean remains unaffected. How? Let us see with an example. There are 10 observations that you can look at over here. Arithmetic mean of a 10 observation, 10 is equal 10, n is equal 10, and their arithmetic mean am that they calculated is 15. If you take 10 observation, Then if you add one more observation as a 15, which is equal to arithmetic mean, right? Only arithmetic mean value you should be added. They are saying in the property that only. Add or delete an observation which is equal to the arithmetic mean. Equal to the arithmetic mean, I am adding it, which is an 11th number. For a 10th number, I am adding a 11th number called 15. 11th number called 15. 15 is what? Again, arithmetic mean I am adding as a 11th observation. 11th observation. Now, if at all we identify the 11th, the new mean, the old mean is 15, right? The new mean becomes 10 into 15 is the old observation sum. For that we are adding 115 divided by number of observation is how much? 11. Then final answer that you will get is 15 only. Again 15 will come because 150 plus 15, which is 165, divided by 11 is equal to 15 only it will come. 15 only it will come because we are adding same arithmetic mean to the total number of sum of observations. Then same arithmetic mean adding and one observation is increasing, which is 10 to 11 observation. So in such a case, arithmetic mean will not change. It get unaffected if you add or delete the observation equal to the mean. In this situation, it is not necessarily to add it. You can subtract it also. In such a case, 10 into 15 minus 15 divided by only 9 observation will come. Only 9 observation will come. So ultimately, final conclusion with the fourth property is arithmetic mean will not be affected if you are adding or deleting an amount or a number which is equal to the arithmetic mean. Now last property, I think, okay, fifth property, most important, 5-star property it is. 5-star property. Kindly observe carefully. Mean is dependent of a change of origin and change of a scale. What is this change of origin? What is this change of scale? Change of origin meaning is if some value has been added or subtracted, that is addition or deletion. If you are doing for any observation, if you are adding or deleting any observation from the given observations, then that will be called as a change of origin. Change of scale is nothing but multiplication or a division divided by division. Okay, wait. Division and multiplication. Again, I wrote it as same. Okay. Cool. Multiplication and division. So origin is nothing but subtraction and addition. Scale is nothing but multiplication and division. So here mean is the dependent. If any addition and deletion is going, mean also will change with the same constant number. Or if any one number, constant number added or multiplied or divided for the mean, then mean also going to affect in the same number. It is also going to change. That is why mean is dependent of the change of origin and change of scale. So if we say in this theoretical way, you will not understand. Let us put those also into numbers. You can understand in a better way. You will not forget in your life. If each of the values of a variable x is increased or decreased, that is addition or deletion, by some constant c, then the arithmetic mean also increases or decreases by c. Similarly, when the value of x bar are multiplied by a constant, say x, arithmetic mean also multiplied by the same quantity k. Whether it is a multiplication, division, subtraction, addition, anything, mean is also going to change. Whatever you did, it is also same impact will be there on the mean. Now let us understand with the numbers. For example, let us take the same previous example into consideration. Add 2 to each observation. Like the observations given, 5 observations given, 2 added for each. Addition we did, addition plus, and multiply each of them by 3. Like we added with 2, and we multiplied, and we assume this as observation. Now we multiplied with 3 for this observation. First, let us look into the addition part. X plus 2, 5 plus 2, 7, 6 plus 2, 8, 7 plus 2, 9, 9 plus 2, 11, 3 plus 2, 5. You got total number as in 40. Now try to identify the mean for this. Total divided by number of observation is 5. which is equal to 8 is the arithmetic mean. What is the actual arithmetic mean? 30 divided by 6 is equal, sorry, 30 divided by 5 observation, which is equal to 6. Now, whether 6 is the old arithmetic mean, the new arithmetic mean is how much? New arithmetic mean is how much? 8 is the new arithmetic mean. That means you added by 2. Then arithmetic mean also added by 2, or also changed by 2. Changed by 2. Now, if you take the same number, assume this as observation. Multiply with a 3. 7 into 3, 21. 8 into 3, 24. 9 into 3, 27. And 11 into 3, 11 into 3, sorry, 11 into 3, 33. 5 into 3, 15. You got 120. Now 120 divided by 3, which is equal to 40. 40, right? 41. Not, we should not take. This is 24. 24. Total number of observation 5, right? 120 divided by 5, which is equal to 24. 24. Now what is the old mean? Old mean for this is 8. For 8, if you can multiply, how much it is? Multiply by 3, because we multiplied all observation by 3. If you can multiply the same by 3, then you will get 24. That means if you multiply it by 3 for all observation, mean is also getting multiplied by the 3 times, which is equal to same. Here, if you add by 2, then mean is also getting added by 2. If you subtract 2, mean is also get decreased by 2. And if you divide by 3, mean is also will be divided by the 3. That is how observations are changing with the same constant number, mean will also change. This is what the meaning of mean is dependent of change of origin and change of scale. I hope you understood. Now last property is, if we have an arithmetic mean, the number of items of 2 or more related groups, we can have a combined mean of these groups are follows. Like combined mean identification. The sixth property of the arithmetic mean is combined mean identification. So how to identify? Assume the same numbers will take into consideration. 5 to 6 as one group and 7, 9, 3 as second group. 5 to 6. 5 and 6 is one group. 5 and 6. And what are the other three numbers? 6, 7, 9. 6, 7, 9. These are the three numbers given. 2 observation. 5 plus 6 divided by 2. Arithmetic mean is how much? 11 divided by 2, which is equal to 5.5, I think. 5.5. Right? 5.5 is the arithmetic mean in the first group. Group number 1. Group number 1. Now group number 2 arithmetic mean is how much? 6 plus 7 plus 9 divided by how many observation? 3 observation. That is 19 divided by 3, which is equal to 6 point something that you will get. 6.33 something you will get. Now if you look at carefully, then these are the group 2 and group 1. Now go back to the formula. What is a group 1? Number of observation 2 and group 1 arithmetic mean 5.5 plus number of observation in group 2 3 and number of arithmetic mean of group 2 6.33 divided by the n1 2 n2 3, then it is equal to final number that you will get is you can see over here the number. I don't want to calculate. Wait, let me calculate over here itself. I'm calculating with my phone. 2 into 5.5, which is 11. 3 into 6.33, which is 19. 11 plus 19 equal to 30. 11 plus 19 equal to 30 divided by 5. Then you will get final answer as an 6. Whether 6 is the main arithmetic mean or not. 6 is the actual arithmetic mean also. You know. So again we can conclude, if we have arithmetic mean and number of items of 2 or more related groups, we can have a combined mean of these groups as follows. Combined mean also you can calculate if you have a more than 2 groups related data. Correct? So these are the 6 properties that we can take in. Now this is what the session for today. Check your understanding first. There are 4 questions I gave it over here. The mean of the data you need to identify. If constant value is added to every observation of the data, the arithmetic mean is also obtained by. And the sum of case of deviation about the mean is. Step deviation method or coding method is also used for computation of the dash method. So these are the 4 questions that you need to comment in the comment box. Don't forget to comment, because I wanted to know whether I am doing correct or not, because with your understanding only I can understand whether you understood my concept or not. So make me understanding by showing your understanding in the comment box. And if you didn't subscribe to my channel, kindly subscribe and turn on the bell icon. Share and like the video, share to your friends, and comment if you have any doubts, and don't forget to comment those answers. And please follow me in Unacademy Learning app also. The link is given. Join in my Telegram group. The link is given in the description. All the PDFs of statistics I will be uploading. Every 5 sessions PDF I will be uploading in the Telegram groups. So you need to join in the Telegram group to get the PDF. And there are ongoing courses in Unacademy Plus platform. Ultimate revision course on commerce and management, revision batch course, and paper 1 batch course already completed. And I will be starting. We both are going to start again paper 1 batch course in the July 1st onwards. So these are ongoing revision courses for the commerce. If you want to take benefit, you can join in this batch courses for 1 month, 1 month or 3 months or 6 months as the case may be. Within 1 month, we are going to complete entire syllabus because this is already started. You can join for it. And if you take Unacademy Plus subscription, you will be getting an access to paper 1 all live sessions, paper 2 all live sessions of all educators, weekly mock test for the paper 1 and paper 2 commerce and management. If you take one subscription, this is a one-stop solution for all your UGC NET preparation. So then here are the plans. If you take 3 months or more than 3 months plans, then you will be getting not only just 10% discount by using my code, you will be getting additional benefits also. But if you take 1 month, you will get any of the additional benefit, any of the one only. So what are the additional benefit? By using my code, you will not only get just 10% discount. All paper 1 topic wise PYQs with clear cut explanation covering 2000 PYQs. Paper 1 all topics single liner PDFs. Full commerce study material in the PDF form you are going to get if you use my referral code Shiva Vodnala. For 3 or above 3 months, all these 3 you will get additionally. But if you take 1 month, you will be getting any of the one out of the 3 additional benefits. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next video. I hope you are able to support me by subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next class.